Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Effdash here with effdash TV. I've got another quick guide for you here with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Legends. So if you're a new player, or maybe even kind of new, you've been playing for a couple months, and you're feeling probably a little overwhelmed. What am I supposed to be doing? Who am I supposed to be farming? I need help, right? So this hopefully is the beginning of a guide that you can use to help yourself in terms of what should you be doing every day, who are some characters that you should be farming, and basically we're going to talk about that today. So in terms of who you should be farming, right, we're going to look at the story mode, and we're going to take it all the way up to chapter 5, because in order to do chapter 5 hard, not only is it 14, or at least to finish it here in stage 12, it's 14 pizza, but also you have to be at the very least level 50, right? So we're going to look at good combinations of characters that you should be looking at to hopefully get through at least stage 5. You want to get to stage 5, 9, all the way up to Leo here, so you can continue farming Leo. So that's really going to be where we're going to look towards. So for this stage in particular, they're going to be about level 49, level 50 for him, right? So let's start though at stage 1. So stage 1 is nice because it only has 3 stages. Anyone here worth farming? To be honest, they all are, but at different stages of the game, right? So Bradford is going to be one of the most plentiful characters that you can farm in the early going. So he starts off here at 1-2 in chapter 1. You'll also find him in chapter 2 and chapter 4. So if you can make it all the way to the very first level of chapter 4, you can farm Bradford. So that's going to give you 3 places to farm Bradford, which is going to help you farm him much faster than say only somebody who only has 1 stage that you can do currently. Bradford is a very good support character in the early going. He can give you increased defense in the early going. At his 5th star, he'll give you increased offense. But I mean, it's going to take a while for you to get there. So he's very, very good at the early stages. So I would recommend farming Bradford as a good support character. Next up, you have Nick Casey. He doesn't have as many levels to farm him from. In fact, if you can only get to stage 4 or 5, you really should not be farming him. You won't get another chance to farm him until level 7, right? Chapter 7. And that's going to be hard 7-9, which is very, very hard. So I would leave Nick Casey, even though he's a really, really good character. I would leave him for when you're a lot stronger, because you're going to have to be level 7 to get another stage for him. So unfortunately, he's a great character, but he's going to be kind of out of your reach if you're a newer type player. Spider Bites is pretty good. You'll get another chance to farm him. He's got a couple as well. So I know he's in chapter 3. I believe he's in a few more chapters as well. So if you want to farm him, you can. He's a very good offensive character. He's got a couple AoEs, but of course you got to get him to level. Actually, I'm sorry, not a couple. He only has 1 AoE, and it's his 5th. So you may not want to spend resources on him again in the early going. So if you're going to farm anybody, it's going to be Bradford, because he's got multiple stages, and I think they're pretty easy to get to. Like I said, you have to get to hard 4-1, which is pretty doable. And then you can farm him in multiple places. So I think Bradford's going to be a good support character for you to start out with. Looking at chapter 2, as you can see, a lot more stages here. So again, there's Bradford, 2-3. Before him, though, you're going to have your first chance at farming Baxter in the suit. Now, suit Baxter also has a couple. The next time you'll be able to farm him is 5-2 and then 7-1. So he's going to take a little getting used to, right? But he's extremely good. He's only going to have 1 node until you can get to stage 5. Here's Bradford's 2nd node. So I still think it's good to start on Baxter, because he's very, very good. He does have multiple AoEs, and he gets his first AoE at 3 stars. So he's a very, very good character. He's going to take you all the way. So if you want to start on Baxter in his suit, 2-1 is going to be your best shot. So we already talked about Bradford. 2-4, you're going to get your first chance to farm April. So here's the problem with April. She doesn't have another one until 7-8, right? So she's really good healer, but you're going to have to make do without her, just because you're not going to get another chance to farm her until very, very late in the game. And her heal, when does she get her heal? Is it 3? Let's look at April. Just to confirm, that's the wrong April. When does she get her heal? Okay, she gets her heal at 2. So if you wanted to farm her up to 2 stars, I don't remember at what point she unlocks, how many stars she unlocks at. But that could supplement that, and then you'd get yourself a nice healer for the Gauntlet, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So if you want to do that, that's cool. Then you do have your first taste of Leonardo, and there's going to be a couple Leos, quite a few of them actually. It's going to be like Bradford. So Leo, this is his first node here, 2-5. You'll also get another chance to farm hit at 4-5, and then 5-9. So he's one of the best characters in the game, and he's the very first character you get. So he definitely can take you all the way to Endgame. And he's very, very good. So I would definitely start farming him as soon as you can here in 2-5. And then you can kind of forget everybody else. So a disclaimer here, don't farm a bunch of different characters at once. You're better off, because it's pretty expensive to do, number one. But number two, you don't want to spread yourself too thin, right? So you're going to want to only farm 1 to 2 characters. Definitely one good character, and then if you have enough resources, go ahead and start farming a second one. But I wouldn't go past that many, just because you might you will definitely run out of pizza, and you might even get a little frustrated because maybe the DNA is not dropping, and you just get really frustrated. So don't farm too many characters at once. 1 for sure, 2 maybe, and then definitely not more than that, right? So let's move on to Chapter 3 to see who's good from here. There's Spider Bites again, if you wanted to start on him. Neutralizer. So Neutralizer, I say him because this is his first node. He's going to get another one at 5-11. Looking here, you start with him, right? So, and he's got a couple AoEs as well. I think his first one starts at 3 stars. So you can definitely start using Neutralizer very early. He's very, very powerful. He can actually take it to endgame as well with Leo. As well, who else we got? Snakeweed. So this is your first chance at 3-8 to start farming Snakeweed. Now you won't get, actually you will get another chance to farm him at 5-4. So he does only have 2 nodes, but he also has multiple AoEs. Unfortunately, his AoEs don't pop out until 4th and 5th star, right? So he's going to be more of a late farm, as opposed to something like Neutralizer, who you can start farming, obviously, once you get to his stage here in Chapter 3, 3-8. And then everybody else here is kind of not worth your time. I wouldn't. I know Karai is somebody you start out with, but she's really bad. And so, I mean, if you want to get her, up to maybe 3 star. Again, I forget. It's been such a while since we started that I don't remember what she starts out as in terms of star level. But you don't want to get her too high, because you're going to drop her very, very quick. So I don't want you to put too many resources into Karai, because she's not worth them, number one, and number two, you're going to drop her pretty quickly. So she's not going to be on my list at all, but you do see that she is here in 3-5. Like I said, I wouldn't recommend putting too much into her because she's not worth it. Moving on to Chapter 4. Donnie. All right, so Chapter 4, again, look, here's Bradford, 4-1. This is your third node for Bradford. Of note as well, you got your first nodes for Dog Pound at 4-2, Pizza Face at 4-4, and then at 4-7, Steranko. So those are your first chances to farm those 3 characters. Dog Pound is really, really good. The problem with Dog Pound, again, he's going to be more of a late farm, because you won't be able to farm him again till Chapter 6-5. Dog Pound is a super solid tank. He's got a bunch of health. I believe his taunt pops out at 2-star, 2 or 3-star. So if you can get him up to that, you can at least get a taunt going. I like Dog Pound a lot. He's very, very good. He hits really, really hard, especially when you get his 5th star. So again, maybe a later farm. Same with Pizza Face. You're going to want to save him for a little later. Actually, I don't even see... He doesn't actually have, it doesn't look like another node. So super late farm for Pizza Face. Actually, Dog Pound has 2 nodes in Chapter 6. Excuse me. He's got 6.5 and 6.11. So you can definitely start farming Dog Pound, getting pretty high as long as you can get to the end of Chapter 6. There's the other node for Leo. And then your first chance, like I said, of farming Stracano, or Starenko, however the hell you say his name. And again, he doesn't have another node, so he's going to be another late farm with Pizza Face as well. All right. You will notice I'm also skipping Baxter Fly. He's got a couple nodes there. He's a pretty good healer. Let's go back here. He's a pretty good healer. If you need another one for the Gauntlet, again, which we'll talk about, because you're gonna want a lot of healers for the Gauntlet. It's definitely the biggest cheat code I can give you is get a bunch of healers for the Gauntlet. They don't do as much damage, except for probably Leo. Leo's going to do tons of damage. But the more you can heal, the better off you're going to be, right? So that's somebody to consider. He's not on my list because he's kind of towards the end of the spectrum in terms of healers. He's kind of garbage. His heal's okay, but his other abilities are really, really bad. So that's why he's not on the list. But he is somebody you can consider if you do want another healer for the Gauntlet. And then Chapter 5, again, at the very beginning of Chapter 5, 5.2 is your second chance of getting Baxter in his suit. Again, really, really good character. Somebody you're going to want eventually, right? So he may be towards like a middle farm, maybe not late farm because he doesn't have a node very early in Chapter 2. Here's another chance again at Snakeweed. And then you'll also find 2 more chances at Leo at 5.9 and then Neutralizer at 5.11. Both amazing characters that we've talked about. So if you can get to the end of Chapter 5, you're going to have multiple places to farm Neutralizer, Leo, Baxter Suit, Spider Bites, and definitely Bradford. So those are some good characters that can take you pretty far. You know, Bradford with his buffing abilities. Leo is going to be all around amazing. Neutralizer's a powerhouse. Spider Bites and or Snakeweed, also very, very good. Towards their later stars, unfortunately, right? So you may be still going with Karai or something like that in the early going, but those are very, very good characters to focus on if you can make it to Chapter 5 at the end. So if you're a little further than that, let's go ahead and talk about it. So Chapter 6 and 7, the difficulty ramps up quite quickly, right? So you can probably make it through Chapter 5, between level 45, level 50. Once you're past that, though, it gets really, really hard, right? So the ones here, it's always strange in Dimension X. You're going to see some interesting characters. The ones you're going to want to pay attention to in Chapter 6 are, again, 6.4 Stracano or Staranko. Dog Pound at 6.5, and then again at 6.11. So if you can make it to Chapter... I'm sorry, not Dog Pound. This is Pizza Face. My apologies. So Pizza Face, this is his second node. And also another node there for Dog Pound, and another one for Staranko. Pizza Face. Update my notes here. So if you can make it to here, it's very, very difficult, right? So even to get to Pizza Face over here, you're in the high 70s, right? So this is not easy to get to. So that's why we're really going to focus on the first 5. But if you are past that, I did want to give you some characters here that you can focus on. And then the very last chapter, the main one you're probably going to want to focus on is Michelangelo. He is a super late farm, obviously, number 1, because he is the very last node, so it's going to take a while to get there. But number 2, he only has 1 node, right? So you're going to want to start on him as soon as you can beat this level, because it's going to take you a while to unlock him. And the problem with Michelangelo is that he unlocks at 3 stars, and he's not really good until his 4th star, right? You can use him in the Gauntlet because he's another healer, but at his 4th star is when he gets his evasion up ability, which is really what makes him so good. Other than Mikey, in Stage 7, there's a bunch of good characters. Again, another opportunity to get Baxter in his suit. at 7-1. At 7-6, another chance at Neutralizer. 7-8 gives you April. 7-9 is your only other chance to get Nick Casey. And then as we talked about, 7-12 is Michelangelo. But those are going to be super late in the game because you got to be very, very high level to beat this level or this chapter. So really focusing on the first 5. Again, some good characters to look out for. Bradford, Baxter in his suit. Again, I say that knowing that he doesn't get another chance until chapter 5. But hopefully you can get there. Baxter in his suit is going to be super good. Leo, and then Neutralizer. So again, Baxter, suit, Bradford, Leo, and Neutralizer. You're going to need a 5th. Hopefully someone better than Karai, but I know she can probably take you kind of far. But hopefully you get somebody better than that eventually. So that's what to do with story mode. Daily quests, those are pretty easy. Depending on what characters you had, you can come in here. And each day they're different, so just go ahead and do that. The other thing you should be doing every day is in the journey, you're going to want to do the Gauntlet, right? Now the Gauntlet is catered to your team. So if we go in here, you'll see I have people that are over level 80. So all of my enemies are level 77 and up, right? So it's going to max out at level 80, level 79. It's going to be very, very difficult for me. So that's where you're going to want to kind of keep your characters sort of grouped together in terms of level. A very good idea is to not level anybody past 45. Regardless if you can take them higher, just because if you take them higher than 45, or at least if you have everybody at 45 and you go higher, it's going to throw off the balance. So you want them as weak as possible, even if you're weak, because if you're both weak, then that's better for you, right? And so you're going to want to bring characters that can heal. That's going to be your best bet to get through the Gauntlet. And it's okay if you're a new player and you can't do more than 1 level. That's fine. Do as many levels as you can, collect your rewards, and every day, hopefully, you'll increase your levels, your abilities, and you'll do a little bit better every day. In the Gauntlet. I know the Gauntlet can be super tedious. Like, I don't even like doing it every day, but it's a great place to get resources and characters. And mutagen, number 1 thing you need to get stronger in the game, mutagen. So make sure that you're doing as much as you can in the Gauntlet. Obviously, it's going to depend on how big your roster is, because this is really, it's a battle of attrition more than anything else. But the more healers you have, the better it's going to be for you. So that's going to be my main tip for the Gauntlet is, work on those healers. Like I said, Baxter Fly wasn't on my list, but he would be in terms of character for the Gauntlet, right? So he's going to be one of the better ones for the Gauntlet. And if you need more tips, like if you do have a pretty good roster and you want more tips for the Gauntlet, definitely look at, I'll drop it in the link below, in the description below. It's going to be Tails from the Discord was nice enough to videotape himself doing the way he does his Gauntlet, and it's very, very good to follow. So I'll drop that as well. So look for that in the description below, so you can see more details specifically on the Gauntlet. And then something else you're going to want to do every day, the tournament. The tournament is going to be a great place for you to come in and get mutagen. This is one of the really the only other place you can get tons of mutagen. Every week. So you can see I've already gathered 53,000 mutagen for the week. And again, it's going to depend on how big your roster is. One of the tips I can give you for the tournament is sometimes don't use all your good characters in one battle. If you can take them out with like one character, one AoE or something like that. Take in a good character and a couple crappy characters. Like for example, right? So let's go battle. Just pick any character here. So let's make believe these are all like level 1s or something. So let's say I can take everybody out with Dog Pound. So take Dog Pound in there, right? And instead of taking some good characters, scroll down your list here and take some of these bad ones. Take a couple of these bad ones here, so that way you don't use all your good characters in one shot, because you want to make sure that you save as many characters as possible for the later stages. And again, I don't really recommend not, if you can beat it with one character, I don't really recommend going in with one character just because you don't get as many points. So I think the main thing here is you want a bunch of points because those points translate into mutagen, which is the biggest thing there. And then challenges. Challenges have definitely changed since Update X. There's a bunch of restrictions in terms of characters that you can use for all these challenges. So you can see here, these are all the characters that I can use. So these are really going to depend on who you have. And so you may not be able to do any of these. And that's disheartening, I understand. But it's just, it is what it is, man, you know. So just keep gathering characters. If you can do even stage 1 of any challenge, I'd say go ahead and do it. You know, again, restrictions here. But if you can do it, I definitely would recommend, even if it's just stage 1, just so you can start gathering some of these green clovers, so you can start using them in the shops to build up your roster and all that good stuff. Yeah, so those are the challenges. So that's really my new player guide there in terms of characters that you want to concentrate on in the early beginning. Again, Bradford. Maybe Baxter in his suit if you can get all the way to chapter 5. Leo for sure, Neutralizer. Those are going to be some good characters to take you pretty far in the game. And then after that, Spider-Bite, Snakeweed, Dog Pound, Pizza Face, Taranko. Those are going to be later farms, but they're going to be really good later farms for you. So let me know in the comments if you have any other characters you think that new players or even intermediate players should be focusing on, or anything that you do every day. I mean, in terms of characters that you do have, level means a lot in this game. Unlike, there's some other games where level doesn't really mean anything. Like I come from Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, where level doesn't give you that much in terms of upgrades. In this game, level gives you a bunch, right? So definitely, like I said, keep them level, right? I'll keep your entire roster level. You see I have most of mine at 79. Keep them at one particular place. And level 45 is really good, you know, because that's really the max of 3-star. So keep them at somewhere that's level. But, you know, try to have, you know, at least 5 people at the same level, right? So you're going to want at least 5 people at level 45, and then start working on another 5, and then like another 5, to do it like that, so you can have everybody at the same thing. I know, again, it's super tedious, and the middle part of this game is really, really rough on players, because you kind of feel like you're going nowhere, and you're just inching and clawing to the next, you know, platform or whatever. But if you stick with it, you'll eventually break through, and you'll reach a much, much better place where you can do more, you can earn more. You just gotta fight through that middle phase of this game. I know it's rough. We've all been there. Some of us have been there. But if you can fight through it, you'll see there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's actually quite fun here in Endgame. So keep battling. You know, let me know in the comments again if you have any questions or comments. We'll discuss them. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time on effdash TV. Take it easy.